Hi, my name is Simon Howe, introducing my colleague Francesca, who's Director of UK Advanced Therapies. I'm just going to say a word or two at the start about how we got here, where we are. The Advanced Therapies Network now has about 800 members in all, of whom 150 on this call or will be. And by way of genetic background, with Research England support, 3 or 4 years ago, we established an organisation called London Advanced Therapies, whose objective was to integrate ATA research activity across the London HEIs and the SMEs and industry. And that worked reasonably effectively, in fact, very effectively, according to the feedback we had, and has metamorphosed in time into UK Advanced Therapies, which in a 1-year programme attempted to do the same thing across the whole UK. The UK Advanced Therapies will have a longevity because a number of key staff, including Francesca, have been taken onto the books by their host university. And so we're assured that the network, for instance, will continue running for the foreseeable future. One of the things that LAT and UKAT were involved with was a program of work to put together a case for innovation hubs for gene therapy, and that case was made to MRC and LifeArc and actually BBSRC, and that produced the launch of the program that you're going to hear about this afternoon. And then very recently, not directly related to our activity, except insofar as raising the profile of advanced therapies in the UK, specifically, this is an area of life science that we're really good at. MRC just released a call for centres of excellence, and there are 3 targeted areas: mental health, multiple morbidities, and advanced therapies, including a subtext of advanced therapies in hematology, in cardiovascular disease. So there is a momentum here, and we need and will continue to build on that across the whole of the UK. Anyway, this afternoon's about the innovation hubs for gene therapy, which are up and running. And our first discussant is Angie Miller, who's going to appear twice. Firstly, as representing Sophie Mountcastle, who's the network manager, and later in her day job at LifeArc. So Angie, the floor's yours.
Thanks, Simon. I'll just share my screen. Okay, can you see my slides? Okay. I have the pleasure of introducing the Innovation Hubs for Gene Therapy. As Simon has mentioned, I am the LifeArc lead for the Innovation Hubs, but also I'm involved in the skills and training group, which I'll talk about later. UK is a leader in developing academic research involving gene therapy. This is something that's widely established and it's unanimously agreed. However, one of the issues that we have and that's been identified is being able to retain this position. We need to support researchers in bringing technologies from the preclinical stage to phase 1. Previously, what happened, and this is basically leading to the development of the innovation hubs and the call for this need, there was a direct ask made by funders and a group of academic and commercial suppliers who expressed the need for dedicated facilities to alleviate the bottlenecks caused by the fact that academic researchers could not progress their research. Based on the discussions, the challenges were reported that UK academics had difficulty in accessing clinical material, technology, and expertise needed to progress gene therapy to the clinic. One of the other identified issues was the fact that there was a lack of manufacturers offering small-scale batch sizes for early phase trials that academics would be involved in, but also a shortage of expertise in GMP manufacture. So it really meant that researchers could only take technologies to a certain phase. Based on this, there was clearly a need to support the UK infrastructure so that we can continue and be leaders within this space. The innovation hubs for gene therapy basically is designed to offer end-to-end support. So this brings together a network of expertise and creates a new infrastructure. With this new infrastructure, we will offer small-scale batch sizes for viral vectors for early phase trials, provide expertise in GMP manufacture to those working within academic institutions, and also materials and platforms where they would normally not have that. Ultimately, the aim of the Innovation Hub is to bridge the gap from preclinical research to basically technologies that get into the patient and commercialization. The Innovation Hubs for Gene Therapy was established in March 2021. And the aim of the hub, as I alluded to before, is to provide academics with dedicated viral manufacturing services. Through early discussions with the community, AAV and LV were identified as the key vectors, and those were the main needs that are required. So what the hubs are doing is focusing on these vectors initially. Alongside manufacturing capabilities, the network will focus on process development and innovation, and the aim is to increase the yield and scale up during the current processes. Basically, what the network will do is also support the identified need for qualified and skilled people across the advanced therapy pipeline. And this will be addressing the skills agenda. Later, my second presentation will actually talk about that in a lot more detail. So the Innovation Hubs is supported by an £18 million investment, and this is provided by LifeArc, the MRC, and BBSRC, and this is for support over 5 years. The network will offer the facilities mentioned, but what it will do is it will strengthen the UK so that the infrastructure is there to enable academic-led viral gene therapies to progress further than they normally would do. It will provide 2 AAV platforms and further scale up for lentiviral vectors. The 2 AAV platforms, one will be King's, the other will be the cell and gene therapy catapult. Capabilities initially will be from 2 to 20 liters, and over time through process development scale up, it will be 50 liters. The idea is for the Innovation Hub to integrate with the existing cell and gene therapy infrastructure. So it will complement all the other initiatives that are taking place. The hubs are located in Sheffield, King's College UCL, which is the London hub, and then NHSBT, which is in Filton in Bristol. We're working with partners to ensure that there isn't duplication of effort, and this will continue so that the network will grow as the hubs develop. Governance of the hub is basically overseen by a project board. The project board is made up of representatives from the funders, so BBSRC, LifeArc, and MRC, and this group has operational oversight for the network. Reporting to the board is a coordinating committee. Again, this comprises of experts within gene therapy, including the hub directors, representatives from the funders, and this is chaired by Dr. Sven Killy, an expert in developing and commercializing innovative advanced therapies. This committee makes direct strategic decisions surrounding the network and how the network operates. And feeding into the hubs, as you can see, are 4 main subcommittees. These are working groups that cover specialist areas, including addressing the skills agenda, which is the skills and training working group. Collectively, the the subgroups help the coordinating committee deliver on the objectives of the whole initiative. So just to recap on what the hubs will offer, there'll be 2 AAV platforms and a lentiviral platform, and these will eventually scale up to 50 litres over time. The availability for actual manufacturing slots, and there will be a priority for academic manufacturing slots, will be 18 to 24 slots per year. The cost will be as close to cost, so there won't be a real profit based on academic needs, although the hubs have the ability to manufacture for commercial, but there will be priority for academic. It's estimated that manufacturing slots will start to open from mid-2023, but we encourage you to speak to any of the hubs and contact the main, through the main site. There is a form there if you have any inquiries. The hubs can feed in and assist with any funding and grant applications. We realize advanced therapies are really expensive, and this requires a lot of planning. There will be a lot of collaborative work with the actual hubs and the network there. They will be able to support you as much as possible. Last but not least, what we're doing is the innovation hubs are still establishing and validating their manufacturing platforms. And what we'd like to hear from you is what you need and what you're currently working with. And this is to ensure that the hubs really can service the needs of the community. So if you scan this QR code, we particularly like to hear from any academic researchers who will require GMP grade viral vectors for preclinical and phase 1 clinical trials in the next 2 to 5 years. But essentially, we'd like to hear from everyone within the sector. So if the form is not a long form, it won't take that long. So if you could please complete this, and this is to ensure that the hub really does service the community. Thank you for your time. Any questions that you have, you can direct them to Sophie. Basically, I'm providing this presentation on her behalf. The next speaker, I believe, is Mamoon, the Sheffield Hub.
Thanks, Angie. So Katarina, if you could please just put the presentation mode, great. So as Angie said, Sheffield is one of the 3 hubs, and I am currently leading on this hub. So just a quick introduction. I'm Mimoun Azzouz, Professor of Translational Neuroscience at the University of Sheffield, with a main focus of activities around AAV gene therapy. So next slide, Katarina, please. So the objectives of the Sheffield Hub, what we call Gene Therapy Innovation and Manufacturing Center, is to basically accelerate translational aspect of gene therapy programs and towards clinical trials. It's within the remit of the network of the 3 hubs, basically to increase UK capacity of GMP clinical vector manufacturing, expand the UK skills and training, and of course, enhance the partnerships between academia, biotech, and pharma companies. All this will create a dynamic ecosystem, and with hopefully all the benefits that I listed here in blue. I will not go through all of them. Next slide. The vision of GTIMC was basically to bring multidisciplinary skills to fill the gaps of AAV mediated gene therapy for rare diseases. And we have partners across the north of England, Midlands and Wales. One of the key elements is that we have established GTIMC. The construction was completed end of July this year with a new GMP clean rooms to manufacture AAV. And we are aiming also within our vision to align between preclinical and clinical trials by bringing experts in senior clinicians, but also regulators. We aim also to have a rich process innovation activities and training program as well. So next slide will show you the 4 themes within the Sheffield Hub: training and skills, translation and support, process innovation, development and analytics, and finally manufacturing. So we have a number of partners, as I mentioned in my previous slide. Next slide, please, Katarina. You can see a number of universities involved, but also clinical entities and companies and academic partners. All these partners are mapped across the 4 themes within our hub. Activities, some of the activities started, other activities will follow as we progress with the establishment of the Sheffield Hub. Next slide. So you can see that the partners are mapped across manufacturing, process innovation, analytics, translation support, and training and skills. And we work as a network with other 2 hubs, KCL Hub and NHSPT. Next slide. So within our facility, you can see here, this slide just summarize, we have uncontrolled area, office space, R&D lab, warehousing, and cold storage. And we have the GMP area with specification in terms of different elements. I will not go in detail, but the next slide will show you the design, and you can see that we have C-grade rooms to clean rooms and the D-grade corridors, which is with unilateral flow for both personal and material, etc. So next slide. So the team at the Sheffield Hub is coming together nicely. So you can see here that we have the different departments, the operational, Kevin Garlick already establishing his team, the production and the quality teams, the head, we have also already a process development lead, Mark Dickman, but also Laura Ferraiolo leading on training and skills activities. And finally, business development, which we are currently under recruitment. Next slide. So we started already R&D activities. So you can see an image of the bioreactor already operational. The tech transfer from CGT Catapult for AAV platform is ongoing. We already did 5 runs already at between Catapult and the Sheffield Hub. We aim to have 3 to 5 slots per year, and the aim is to have a fully operational hub manufacturing by mid next year, next academic year. Next slide. So showing you here the roadmap to GMP manufacturing. You can see different activities, qualification of both facility, equipment, tech transfer, QMS system, and many other activities that are ongoing to allow us to be ready for the image array inspection. The next slide basically give you more detail and the critical path towards the operational hub. So you can see different categories here in blue: the commissioning, validation, equipment procurement, but also the qualification of, as I said, of the facility and the equipment. In green, we have the tech transfer and process development and other activities allowing us to establish the QMS system and training of the staff. Next slide. So the training and skills is also at the heart of what we are doing, and it's within the scope of the LifeArc and MRC vision for these activities. We aim to, as you know, to help and engage with other two hubs to fill the gaps and the shortage of skills in this space. And the next slide give you more detail about some of the activities. Next slide, please. Give you more detail about our activities in Sheffield, some of the activities around the MSc course, covering the different aspects of advanced therapies from discovery all the way to commercialization, but also we collaborate with other internal teams like the Advanced Manufacturing Research Center, but also nationally to fill the gaps for and upskill and bring talent in this space. Thank you.
Thank you, Mimoun. Next speaker is Robin. If you can introduce yourself, Robin. I can't see.
Yes, sorry. Hello. Let me see. Hello, I'm Robin Ali, Professor of Molecular Genetics at King's College London, and I'm Director of the King's, UCL and Royal Free Hub. So let me share my screen. So can people see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to present on behalf of the London hub, and this is a hub that is aims at providing GMP AAV and lentiviral and retroviral vectors using a range of platforms. And we're also have an extensive process development and process innovation program to increase yields and to reduce costs to academic users. And also another aim of our centre is to provide training in gene therapy manufacturing, but also in the regulatory pathway for advanced therapies, offering both short and specialist courses and longer courses to develop core skills. So training is a major part of our hub, and this is in particular supported extensively by colleagues at UCL. The structure of the hub is shown on this slide. It's the manufacturing component is embedded in King's College London's gene therapy vector facility, which has been is a facility that has been manufacturing GMP lentiviral and retroviral vectors for over 10 years now. And the hub is a fantastic opportunity to expand the offering from GTVF, the services and the facilities we can provide, particularly to support process development and innovation, and also to expand activity from lenti and retroviral into AAV GMP manufacturing. So our centre, the GTVF, is I'm the director of the centre, the academic lead. and the operations director, Keith Meany, plays an important role within the hub, because he oversees much of the manufacturing operations within the facility. And as you can see that it's rather small text, but you can see that in some of these boxes you have large teams dealing with either manufacturing or process development, and many of these positions are funded by the hub, but there are other positions that, of course, that have been have existed and within KCL's GTVF, but using the existing GTVF structure, we're able to leverage the expertise and infrastructure that's been developed over a number of years. And we have a number of work packages. Firstly, the skills and training work package, which is led by Francesca Lubick, who's director of UK Advanced Therapies, and she directs the skills and training. We have a lentiviral manufacturing component, which is to provide lentiviral vectors for academic projects, and that's headed up by Sabine Domming, with a team of 19 staff in production. And then we have a new operation which is entirely supported by MRC LifeArt, which is to develop AAV GMP manufacturing, and that's headed up by Fedos Hashi, and she has a team of 8 staff developing AAV manufacturing within the quality system of the GTVF. We also have a process development team, which covers process development in both Lenti and AAV manufacturing. That's headed up by Hemant Dam, who's come from industry, and he's recruited a new team of 6 individuals, including some funded by MRC LifeArc. And that is really to provide that to support process transferring in clients' processes into the facility, and to ensure that there's smooth tech transfer, as well as allowing facilitating the hub and GTVF to adopt new manufacturing protocols to improve yield and cost. And then finally, we have a process innovation component, which is in collaboration with UCL and the Royal Free. So colleague Professor Mark Liddell at the Royal Free is leading a work package on process innovation in suspension cell technology to allow scale up, particularly of lentiviral vector production. And then we have, we hope soon to join our hub, Professor Martin Poole from UCL, who is leading a work package to develop some new cell lines and ways of downstream processing of lentiviral vectors. And so it's truly a London-wide hub and a collaboration across London. And just to highlight, our colleague Dr. Kazim Rafiq at UCL is the co-lead for the skills and training, and Kazim has over a number of years developed some fantastic MSc courses and short courses on GMP manufacturing, which are being adapted, and he is working with Francesca and colleagues to develop new courses for GMP manufacturing. So And so the facility itself, as I said earlier, has been established. The GTVF has been established for a number of years, and is already has MHRA license for manufacturing lentiviral vectors and retroviral vectors for use in clinical trials, and also has a specials license for manufacture of unlicensed medicines. In fact, GTVF is the largest manufacturer of retroviral and lentiviral vectors in Europe. So we're currently manufacturing around 20 batches of lenti and retroviral vectors per year, and that's going to increase substantially over the next few years as we increase our capacity. The number of staff at GTVF are around 50. It's going to grow to around 60 members of staff in over the next year. So it really, our ambition is to be able to provide the capacity to support large number of trials within the UK. And adding to our lenti and retroviral capacity, we are starting to develop an AAV capacity, and we have now established an AAV team who are undergoing training and putting all the documentation in place so that we'll be able to start to manufacture AAV vectors for clients in 2024. And these are the facilities. We have currently using a clean room suite. It's 2 clean rooms within King's College Hospital, around 80 square meters. We've recently brought online a new clean room, two new clean rooms within KCL, 63 meters. We'd actually be able to produce more, a greater batches of virus through this better designed facility, and that's already been accredited. Will come online, start producing vector in the next month or so, next couple of months, and then clean room suite 3, another 2 clean rooms within KCL is at the Rain Institute, Denmark Hill. That's being constructed at the moment. We're expecting accreditation Q1 2024, and we're also planning another set of clean rooms at Guy's campus, which is currently being planned. We've worked up the design, and we hope that will come online within the next couple of years. That will again allow us to expand our capacity for manufacturing, and that will all operate under a single license, which is held by KCL GTVF. And so with that, I'll sort of wrap up. I'm the director of the KCL Hub, and be contacted robin.alley@kcl.ac.uk. And you can also contact Operations Director Keith Meany or the Business Development Manager Henry Pegram. Thank you. I'll hand back over to you. Thanks.
Hi, Robin. It's Francesca here. I think you needed to say that after you now we'll have Paul Lloyd-Evans from the Bristol Hub. So you have the floor, Paul.
Thank you very much. Here we go. Let me share my slides. So thank you, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Paul Lloyd-Evans. I'm the head of the Clinical Biotechnology Centre. I'm actually the co-lead on the Bristol Hub. The lead is Dr. John Smythe. So this is our brand new building that's just been built over the last couple of years. It's had a recent successful MHRA inspection in June, and we will be operational as the Clinical Biotechnology Centre within this facility in the next few months, manufacturing plasmids. So as a brief introduction, NHS Blood and Transplant is where the Clinical Biotechnology is located. It's on the Filton building at the Bristol site. But NHSBT itself has over 5,000 employees and provides life-saving blood products, organs and tissues to England and beyond. It has a nationwide infrastructure and specialist expertise for service delivery and also in advanced therapies. In 2013, some 10 years ago nearly, the cell and molecular therapies function headed by Dr. John Smythe was brought into being, and leveraging all our cell therapies and the clinical biotechnology facilities into one function. And in this function, we have different licenses. We have both MHRA and HTA licenses. The function now has nearly 140 staff. It's grown significantly since 2013. It's supported by a dedicated ATMP team and QPs. And of course, we support alongside stem cell transplantation, we support advanced cell and gene therapies. The clinical biotechnology is the only facility that does molecular therapies, such as gene therapies. And we are an ideal partner for the hub and based obviously in the Southwest too. So our vision is for fast tracking patient access to cutting edge cell and gene therapies. That's what we're there for. In terms of the clinical biotechnology, a little bit of history and our experience. Then we're currently based also at Langford. That facility will be decommissioned very soon. The new facility, as I said, is a £11 million investment by the Department of Health. Within it, it's 2 floors. It has over 9 clean rooms and ancillary spaces, QC labs, process development labs, storage space, and so on, and offices. Over the last 20 years, we've produced over 200 batches of GMP-grade plasmids and some recombinant proteins. We, as NHSBT, we are not-for-profit organisation, and we collaborate closely with our customers and clients to ensure project delivery. We are adaptable, we're flexible, and on our next slide, we can see a little bit more of what we've, in terms of experience, expertise. We have success, good track record in delivering complex, high-value projects. We work closely both with academics and commercial partners in the gene therapy field. We provide regulatory guidance, of course, tech transfer and process development services alongside manufacturing. We have a robust and integrated quality management system and a dedicated QA team and project management and continuous improvement capabilities too. And also we do import IMPs into Great Britain. So our remit, I guess, is also to provide a continuous end-to-end supply chain for advanced therapies and provide that within a single organization that has many benefits, and that includes a single QMS, a single contract, a single project management process, and to make the supply chain much simpler, and also a quicker timeline to clinical trials. So as I mentioned previously, we manufacture plasmids. Within the new facility, we are bringing online and validating currently a lentiviral vector process to 50 litres. We do have fill and finish capabilities. We have our colleagues alongside next door who are experts in advanced cell therapies, and obviously batch release we can do through our QPs and quality management system and shipment. Also within our facility, we've got a very well-equipped quality control laboratory too. In terms of the people and the investment that LifeArc's enabled us to make, embedded within our establishment, we now have a MRC LifeArc viral vector hub manager, Sujit Sebastian. We also have a project specialist who does some of the project management and some of their activities, some additional teams for our production department, from production scientists, and a training post as well, Suhair Salman, who's been recently employed. So the hub is actually embedded, as I mentioned, within the current establishment. We have a governance board and project team, and it's a sustainable model going forward, which is important. In the next 5 or 6 years, we'll be probably near close to about 50 whole-time equivalents within the Clinical Biotechnology Centre. So in terms of a quick overview of our process and technologies, obviously currently plasmid is our main platform, which we make up to 3 grams of plasmid GMP. We can also make R&D grade plasmid as well. But in terms of our vectors, the AAV, which will be an enhanced offering through MRC LifeArc, will be at the same scale as our LV, which is 50 litres. It'll be a suspension-based culture. It'll be close processing. We'll be looking to intensify that process as well. In terms of the downstream, we are using chromatography and TFF, or hollow fiber crossflow systems, and also isolator technologies throughout the facility. We're bringing online additional analytics to support the release of our AAV products and LV products. So there's a number of analytics there that we're bringing on board as well. So in terms of delivery, where are we in this process? Similar to Sheffield, we tech transferred the cell and gene therapy catapult process, the AAV platform, which is suspension-based, into our facility. And that is coming to completion this month, in fact. So work package 1 and 2, and well, yeah, 1 and 2 are now nearly complete. We are then looking to scale up the AAV platform to 50 litres over the next 6 to 9 months. And we will be fully sort of operational for manufacturing GMP in approximately 13 or 14 months' time, from 2024 February time. So finally, who are the people? Obviously, my contact details are there, and also John's contact details. We've got Sujit's contact details as well, and our business development manager. So thank you very much for your time. And now I'd like to introduce my colleague, Piers, who actually works within CBC, and he's going to give a little bit of overview on the process development activities of the hub. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. Hope this is visible. I'm Piers Valzer. I lead the process innovation at, as Paul said, at the Clinical Biotechnology Centre, part of NHS Blood and Transplant. I'm going to give you a very, very brief overview of the process development activities and innovation drive that is the collaborative effort of the innovation hubs. Right, just a very quick overview of what this involves. Process development usually starts with obviously a design of what you want to do, from top to bottom. Increased understanding as you embark on this process development leads to characterization, ever-improving characterization of the actual process. This enables an understanding of the process, enables your processes to be controlled higher, and obviously higher, tighter process control and understanding of the underlying quality attributes of the products leads eventually to product characterization and the control of the critical quality attributes of these manufactured products. And what I'd like to point out here is that the aim of the process development collaborative effort of the hubs is obviously to present a versatile and flexible structure that can be approached by our potential future collaborators out of academic space or in a sort of SME space. It is quite likely that they will approach this at various stages of their own process development. Some later, probably SME stage, will have already undertaken significant process development, maybe in-house or in collaboration with an academic partner, understand and have developed their process significantly. And it's therefore quite likely that different potential collaborators will be approaching the hub network from at a different stage. What I'd like to point out here are these sort of cartoonized cogs here, is a continuously improving and developing and evolving landscape or machinery, if you like, that never stops turning. So there's a constant evolution of the understanding of the products and a maturation of that understanding, driven by our ability to actually analyze the product, in particular, to analyze process impurities. So this is constantly evolving and constantly being updated and adapted. This, to some degree, also, as we've heard from Mimoun and Robin and Paul, reflects the sort of stage at which various hubs are at. As Robin said, they've long been a manufacturer of lenti and retroviral products. Paul mentioned that we've been manufacturing plasmids and recombinant proteins, GMP, at the Clinical Biotechnology Center. So this ideally sort of lends itself to presenting a landscape that future collaborators can approach at various stages of this process. Right, I'm just going to get rid of that. What's the scope for process development for the innovation hubs for gene therapies? As has been pointed out, it's a development and scale-up of an AAV, adeno-associated viral vector manufacturing from an inward tech transfer from the cell and gene therapy catapult. It is also sort of the integration and innovation of existing lentiviral and retroviral processes, as Robin pointed out. But in particular, what I'd like to stress here is the drive of the network ecosystem, if you like, to harmonize and to develop and optimize the analytical tools to characterize and control our processes. And I'm sure people in the audience have seen enough organograms, and I'll keep this to an absolute minimum. What I'd like to point out here is how does this work on a practical basis. We've got obviously the 3 hubs that you've just been introduced to by Professor Soos and Professor Ali, and Paul, the NHSBT Bristol hub, representation from the funding bodies, and this feeds into the coordinating committee for the gene therapy hubs to make the higher level strategic decisions based on recommendations that come out of this process development body. Apart from that, we have the sort of technology providers on board, which is the CPI, Center for Process Innovation, and as I mentioned before, Cell and Gene Therapy Catapult. In addition, we have a process development subgroup that deals with the more technical aspects and feeds into this network here. Just a few words on what we have, since it's been brought into existence, what we've encountered and what we focused on, as I've mentioned before, is a constant evolution of the analytical tools to allow us to characterize the product and impurities in ever greater detail, which is definitely required. And there's still a long way to go on that. And the aim of the process development network across the hubs is to standardize and harmonize the control of our processes of the chemistry and manufacturing controls available to us, so that we're all working with the same standards, to the same standards. A particular focus of the group has been on critical starting materials. In this context, this is the packaging cell line in which these viral vectors are made in cells. Currently, everybody is focusing on, sorry, I will take that back, not everybody, but a big focus has been on suspension, cell line development, and also the nucleic acids that we use to transfect into these packaging cell lines that encode for various bits and pieces of the vectors that are manufactured. To again standardize and develop together a platform packaging cell line for transient transfection that can be used across the hub network. As I mentioned before, the scale-up work is on the back of an inward technology transfer from cell and gene therapy catapult. That was an AAV2 process. And particularly, what I'd like to point out here, particular interest to the process development network group is an alignment of our processes with the sort of leading larger manufacturers in the UK, with a view that we, as Angie pointed out earlier, we will be manufacturing material for small scale material for phase 1 clinical trials, possibly phase 2, but let's go with phase 1 clinical trials. So with a view on being able to then take that forward to seamlessly take that forward to in partnership with the larger manufacturers present in the UK. Last organigram, I promise. Apart from the process development group, we have a small subgroup, as I mentioned before, and the aim there is to, and again, representation from the funders, from the technology providers, and the 3 hubs. Pardon me. The aim of this is to bring on board or discuss new solutions to analytics, chemistry solutions, and we aim to provide a platform also for technology providers, so developers and suppliers of instruments, analytical instruments or processing instrumentation that can come to this group and introduce their novel technologies to us, which we can then discuss and make suggestions to the hub network via the process group. And I believe I have more or less said that. So with that, I will pass over to Angie, I believe.
Yes, you're right. It's off to Angie.
Thanks, Piers. Can you stop? Yeah. Okay, I will quickly share my screen because I realized time. Okay. What I'm going to do over the next 5 minutes, hopefully, is a whistle-stop tour, just going into a bit more detail on the aims of the skills and training group, which I mentioned before is one of the subcommittees that feeds in and help deliver the objectives of the innovation hubs. As we all agree and we know, the sector is growing at phenomenal speed. There's some statistics here which I won't go into, but basically there's 7,000 people working in the sector, and by 2026 it's estimated that we're going to need more than twice the number of individuals. As well as the infrastructure and capabilities, manufacturing capabilities for the UK, one of the main concerns is also having sufficient skilled individuals within the UK who will remain within the UK, but also will support and deliver the functions that we so desperately need. This bottleneck, really to avoid it, we're going to have to ensure that we address the issues, the real issues, why we have such a huge skill gap and need. This is delivered by the Skills and Training Group for the Innovation Hubs. The Skills and Training Group comprises representation from each of the hubs. The group is chaired by Professor Uta Grischenbach, and obviously there's representation also from the funders, but also the network coordinator, and that's Sophie. Basically, what we plan to do is address the critical need for qualified and skilled people across the advanced therapy pipeline. So that's every aspect with regards to manufacturing viral vectors at this scale. The advantages of our approach to addressing the skills need is really identified by the fact that we have unique strengths from each of the individual hubs in the network, and they are all committed and dedicated to working together to address what the requirements are. The hub and network is uniquely placed so that we can provide bursaries and scholarships to students undertaking courses at either Sheffield or UCL. And we have the opportunity to bring in new individuals into the sector through courses and apprenticeships that will be set up. We will do this working with partners. The Skills and Training Group also has excellent links with other skills initiatives. It's important that we don't duplicate effort to address the skills need, because this is something that applies to everyone working within this space. So we will work with our partners, and that will be from delivering training courses, workshops, right the way through to policy-led discussions to ensure that we address the needs efficiently. One of the main key deliverables for the Skills and Training Group since the launch is to work towards having an appropriate strategy to address the needs of the sector. As we know, it's fast moving. There are many players within there, so there are a lot of resources and initiatives popping up all the time. Working collectively, but led by the King's hub, the network is working up a joint strategy, and this will be for all hubs and the network collectively. The first part is a mapping exercise, and this is to identify knowledge gaps, areas of particular need, and the skill sets required to actually ensure that we address the space. And this is also in discussion with industry experts and the community. Once set up, the strategy will outline exactly how we hope to achieve and address the skills needs, but also identify and implement metrics so we can measure the activities and impact of the hubs. The joint skills plan and strategy will be published later this year. Just briefly touching on each hub, exactly what's been happening within the skills space, because although the strategy is being worked up and finalized at this point, each hub has been working to address the skills gap. So the University of Sheffield, as Mimoun briefly mentioned, there's a newly developed MSc course in advanced cell and gene therapy. This was first launched in 2021-22 with 3 initial students, and plans are now for the second 2022-23 intake, which will be a larger number because this is a new course. The advantage here for the hub is the fact that we were able to offer 2 bursaries to home students, which is one of the issues that we have and that's been identified with having UK students actually upskilling within the space, particularly if they are working, because it's very difficult to fund yourself, but also getting time out. So these 2 bursaries have supported 50% of the fees for 2 home students, and for the upcoming intake, again, there will be additional bursaries to support this. Again, it's also working with partners to offer internships and placements at academic institutions in pharma, and this will be something that going forward will be offered to those working in the community, but also those MSc students that may be coming through that need to have practical experience. All our work within the skills space is in collaboration with our partners. And this is also in the case of incorporating virtual reality training. And this is in collaboration with the AMRC. Working with the cell and gene therapy catapult, but also Attack and Atomic, This is to set up apprenticeships to ensure that those that want to train and have practical experience whilst they are learning can actually do that as well. NHSBT in Bristol, as Paul mentioned, through the hubs and the investment that's placed in there, the possibility of recruiting a training specialist to deliver training activities. Current work is also going on to develop practical training sessions for new and existing hub staff. Also offering focused training placements for upskilling research staff. And this will be for projects so that you can actually gain experience on the job. There'll be a minimum of 5 over 2 years. And again, NHSBT have a lot of experience with apprenticeships, but there will be 2 apprenticeships hosted by the hub, 2 additional apprenticeships hosted by the hubs. And this is in collaboration with the ATTACK network. For King's, as Robin mentioned, there's a large training element that's provided by King's from their existing offering, but there's also the creation of a part-time 2-year distance learning MSc program, and this is on manufacturing and commercialization of advanced therapies. The fact that this is distant learning and part-time also addresses an accessibility issue that exists for home students. So hopefully when this opens, which the first intake will be in 2024, we will see that more students will be able to actually upskill within this space. Other activities involve creation of 10 online and interactive learning modules. These will be free and available to hub staff, and this is to develop knowledge and understanding. Creation of an accredited short course on cell and gene therapy. This is a new course that will be offered in March 2023. It will be for 3 to 4 days. Initially, it's likely to be run virtually. Information is on the website if you want to actually register or find out any more information with regards to that. But this will involve presentations and workshops from those working in the sectors, from academics right the way through to industry and regulators. The last is the creation of 1 to 2 minute professional animation videos. This is really important because it delivers just the concept of a lot of the aspects within gene therapy. And this is really useful to when explaining, but also for a lot of outreach activities that the hubs are going to be involved in. Okay, thank you for your time. I think now what we'll do is we'll move on to the question and answer. I think that's Francesca and Simon.
Indeed, thank you, Angie. And actually, I have a first question for you, so don't go far, because you've spoken about this, let's call it, network of hubs working together. Are you considering or indeed seeking to work with other partners or only with the 3 hubs?
No, we, as well as the hubs, you know, the hubs received the investment for the 18 million, but the thing is, it's not just the hubs in isolation, it's the network. And we've referred to this a lot. And this is not just for the skills aspect. We know we can't deliver it alone. It's going to be in collaboration with others. For the skills, we welcome any discussions with anyone working in the space, because the thing is, it is collectively that we're going to actually have impact within, you know, the shorter space of time.
And in fact, as we are here, and before we forget, as you well know, we are planning, we are running a kind of survey of what skills gap there are and how we can best help preparing materials to fill it. And we will be using one of the future Advanced Therapies Network events to share with the community the outcome of the survey and to receive further feedback on what we think is the best plan going ahead. But with this, I will go, there are a lot of questions in the chat. So what I'll do, I'll go read and ask for volunteers from the hubs and the speakers for anyone who would like to answer. So the first one that I can see is about cost competitiveness and whether the network is looking to leverage collective scales with regards to consumables purchasing power. I think I saw one of you nodding about this. I think it was Paul. Did you want to say something, or no, you are hiding?
No, I mean, obviously we're going to do some collaboration along some other aspects, you know, maybe sharing like starting materials, cell lines and stuff like that. But in terms of, yeah, procurement, that's something we could explore, I guess. I mean, each one of us will have procurement systems in place with our different organizations, but that's a possibility.
Okay, and now a question. Are these hubs used only for manufacturing vectors or final product of ATMP? Who wants to answer? Pierre, Robin?
I'll answer both. So I think we produce a lot of lentiviral retroviral vectors which are drug substance, but we're starting to move into lentiviral vector in vivo use as drug product, and AAV most certainly as a drug product.
Thank you. And will you be ever any offering on analytic support? And I think actually, Paul, you mentioned something there, but if you want to say something, but anyone from the various, the three networks, the three hubs, if you want to say something, who goes first?
Oh, well, in terms of analytics, I guess, Piers, you know, we will be looking at either sort of collaborating on those with the other hubs to maybe standardize the processes. And obviously, like anything else, there will be some qualification or system suitability for any new product on there. So some optimization, I agree, will be required for any of the new products, and also looking at new technologies for certain, for looking at, you know, full and empty.
Thank you. And so if no one else wanted to add to it, there is one question that is very specific, and I think I can answer that. As a student, I think is asking whether there are work opportunities for MSc stem cell and commercialization graduates from King's College London within the tech transfer department currently. The answer is I don't know, but I think you should contact Mike Shaw, that is the director of innovation at King's, because if you don't know how to contact, please contact me and I will put you in touch. And yes, so question probably from Angie, but is anyone able to comment on the LifeArc Gene Therapy Innovation Fund?
Yes, I lead that fund as well. That was launched at ESGCT. Basically, that's a per year, it's 5 million, and that's to support academic-led projects that use viral manufacturing, that require the manufacturing capabilities of the innovation hubs. And that will be from, it ranges from pre-clin all the way through to phase 1, but it is where it has to be academic and use the capabilities. We didn't touch on it here because of time, but you can find more information either directly through LifeArc, through our funding page, or actually the Innovation Hub page as well. But if anyone wants more information, they can contact me.
Thank you. Well, I think this is where the Q&A always allowed to say a little bit more of what we can say in the presentation. And I saw an answer question that I already forgot, but basically it was around whether the hubs are planning to provide services only in UK or outside as well. And I think it would be good if every hubs could say something, because some of them are already operative. And shall we go in order? Mimoun, are you still?
Yes,
online?
I'm still here. Yeah, so the vision behind establishing the three hubs obviously is to fill the gaps and increase capacity for the UK GMP manufacturing for UK universities. Having said that, I mean, if there is capacity within the hubs to support and supply material for outside the UK, I don't see any problem, but the priority obviously is the UK universities. And I expect that as the hubs grow, there will be opportunities to work with groups and outside UK. This is a unique initiative. So not such initiative doesn't exist anywhere in Europe and probably worldwide. So I expect this to grow, significantly in coming years.
And from Bristol, Paul or Piers, do you want to add something?
I think Mamoon has said it quite nicely, actually. And in terms of spare capacity, maybe, yeah, that's a possibility, but it is really sort of especially for the Life Arc, the MSc Life Arc Hub priority is the UK base, I guess. And obviously for our other services, we do work with a number of other collaborators and clients, in Europe and so on. So.
Thank you. And Robin, anything to add?
Not really. I mean, just to emphasize again that our priority, like all the hubs, is UK academic investigators, and just to make the point that we do, where we have spare capacity, we do manufacture for clients and academics across Europe and indeed the US. So that I'm sure will continue, but we will obviously prioritize the UK.
Thank you. I was reading through the questions. There are still a couple of interesting ones. And today's presentation was focused on the collaboration with academia, and actually more than collaboration with academia, it's collaboration between the hubs to then, let's say, would be any services be available for startups and small companies? I don't know who wants to answer. On my screen, I still have Robin, if you want to offer something, and then maybe Angie.
So I think as part of our remit, I think we do sort of view that academic spin-outs are part of the landscape, and it's important for UK advanced therapies that spin-outs are supported and thrive for UK PLC. I think that's really important. And the one difference is, of course, that we price our services to academics at an academic rate, and we do offer commercial clients a service that has to include a commercial overhead. So that side, there is, we're very keen to support university spin-outs.
And I think there are a couple of really, oh, Mimoun, sorry, I almost didn't see you. You have to thank Simon who pointed your raised hands, because I was reading question, I couldn't see it. Mimoun.
Yeah, no. So just to add to what Robin is absolutely right, what Robin said, just to add, basically, the way I say it is that the vision behind this network of hubs in the UK is to create this dynamic ecosystem to, enhance the chances to progress these programs to phase 1 trial, to establish startup companies, then to give these companies a good chance to succeed in the UK, because that's the normal succession of events in this space, and I think startup companies are key elements of what we would be doing.
Thank you. And well, there is a question on the scale up, whether the platforms, there is a platform support for the scale up or optimization of the scale up within the hubs.
Shall I start with that one?
Go.
I think all hubs are very conscious of the need to scale up from the processes that currently used and we are implementing. And I think what we are all focusing on is having scalable systems, even though our priority is to support first in human, early phase clinical trials. our ambition is to manufacture using scalable processes that can be transferred easily and readily for all the way up through larger, phase 3 trials that may be sponsored, may be developed outside academia, and all the way to clinical supply. But it's not, I think, it is not the aim of any hub to scale up all the way to clinical supply. So we're part of that important part of the first part of the process of the journey, which is the first in human trials that requires generally small scale manufacturing. But we're all aiming to do it using systems that are scalable and transferable into industry.
Thank you. And I think our time is almost over. We have a couple of more questions. I don't know if you guys saw the email from Julia Braybrock, who has left the meeting now, but he was asking to contact him for possible collaborations, and left his email in the chat. And there are a couple of more technical questions on IP ownership, but I think, that's usually, it really depends on the history as well of how that IP was created. So it's not, I don't think we can give a one single answer. And I think with this, we are coming to a close, unless I see another question. Yes, there is one final question on one component that is missing is a focus on logistics. And so basically the comment that there is not a focus on logistics on the work that the hubs are doing. And to this, before we open to the floor, I wanted to add that the Advanced Therapies Treatment Centers that were funded from 2018 to 2022 really focused on the logistics and did a lot of work in that. So this is, to my mind at least, is a kind of complementary but different piece of work. But I may be proven wrong. If any one of the hubs leads want to tell me I'm wrong, please. I think everyone agrees on that. How do we translate an MSc into a real world job? And I don't know if anyone involved in the training, shouldn't be me answering, but I am the director of skills and training. So, but Angie, why don't you say something about it? I can only say that we are working carefully all together to make sure that the training provision we create really prepare you for the real work. It's not a theoretical, purely academic piece of work we are doing. That's the aim. Angie.
Yes. And it's basically anything that's being developed it's in not only in collaboration with the providers, but also those who will employ those individuals. Hence the emphasis on trying to have practical skills, ensuring that the skills are appropriate for the roles. Because the thing is, when you come out with, even with PhDs, MScs, you're not going to jump straight into some of these specialized roles and be able to hit the ground running. You're going to have to train and really gain those special skills specific for those roles. And these roles are developing all the time, depending on the setup. So it is where we are in close collaboration and discussion to ensure that, any training provided, if it needs to be specialized, it's there, but it is where it's appropriate for an individual to get them into that role as soon as possible.
Thank you. And with this kind of beautiful last intervention, I think I would like to thank all the speakers, Katarina for organizing and getting us all here in good time and well lined up. And I thank you for the audience for joining us. We had quite a lot of participants, and I wish you all a nice evening.
Thank you.